Good evening and thanks for watching the Times TV News. Here with me, Sarah Chilora. But first, the headlines. Government interdicts controlling officers over failure to account for COVID-19 funds. Teachers announce strike as schools reopen this Monday. And 70 billion kwacha investment set up to revive Malawi's railway system. We have these plus many other stories. Please do stay with us. In our first story, Chief Secretary to the government, Zangazanga Chikosi, has confirmed the interdiction of all controlling officers who appeared before the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 without backing documents on expenditure reports. Chikosi confirmed this during President Lazarus Chakwera's 7th address on COVID-19 at Kamuzu Palace in Lilongwe a while ago. Chakwera has since announced that an audit into COVID-19 funds amounting to 6.2 billion kwacha will take a month. Here is part of what Chakwera said.
To effect these directives, I tasked the Secretary to consult with the Solicitor General, the Acting Auditor General, and others to ensure that the letters of interdiction to these cluster heads are written in a manner that is compliant with the law. And now, I have called Mr. Chikosi here to publicly confirm that this process has been completed as I directed. Mr. Secretary, can you confirm that these two directives have been acted on?
Your Excellency, I confirm.
Teachers across the country say will go on their strike starting this Monday as schools reopen. The teachers want government to address their concerns, one of which is risk allowances in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic. Thomas Kachere has more in this report.
Teachers Union of Malawi, TUM President Wile Malimba, says the strike is on and will end once government addresses their grievances. He added that government has indicated its intention to have discussions with them, but is yet to suggest time and date. However, because of pressure, Minister of Education has disclosed that it has formally submitted TUM's request for risk allowances to the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. Public Relations Officer for Minister of Education, Chikondi Chimala, says this has come about as part of responding to the request by the teachers. Chimala says upon learning of TUM's position, the ministry is actively engaging TUM, being a key partner in the education sector, to reach common understanding. Chimala says in the meantime, government has already started responding to TUM's grievances, including by making available PPEs for teachers in all secondary schools, including for those who will be taking care of students in isolation centers in the event there have been positive cases. Last week, Teachers Union of Malawi threatened to put down their tools should government fails to address their grievances. Meanwhile, Independent Schools Association of Malawi, ISAMA President Joseph Patel, says the planned strike has nothing to do with them. He says their schools will be in operation and that they are ready to resume work.
A renowned journalist, Cheuleke Nimita, has died. A family member, Wayani Montali, confirmed to Times that Mita succumbed to COVID-19 on Saturday night. She was working for World Food Programme in Nigeria, but was airlifted to Accra in Ghana for treatment on Wednesday, where she died. Before working for WFP, Mita worked for Nation Publications Limited. At least 5,500 ultra-poor people in Mzimba are expected to move out of extreme poverty thanks to interventions by various stakeholders since 2017. Through village savings and loan groups, the people are now able to save money for future use and investment. The people are also conducting climate-smart agriculture to improve food security, among others. Feston Malekezo reports.
Synod of Livingstonia Development Department is one of the organizations that has been working on a pro-resilience project in Mzimba North aimed at uplifting the lives of people in ultra-poor region. The department's executive director, Kenneth Sakala, said what they have been doing in the past 3 years was to give the people sustainable skills that would improve their lives. The project was mainly targeting people who were under government's social cash transfer program.
We are proud to say that what we can see now, there's a great change. Although there's still some more need, there's need for more, but that is a great change. Most of those who were in that lower category, they have moved a little bit. Now we can see those in the social cash transfer, they used to be called the bad names like Yamanjalen, the lazy people. Now we have seen that most of these now they can work on their own. They're able to cultivate. They're using modern technology of cultivation. They're even using nutrition science sensitive type of agriculture with their planting and many other things. So we are seeing a great change.
One of the beneficiaries, Laston Nkuniga, who is also a lead farmer from Kadzuwa Nyankwenda cluster, said has managed to buy a motorcycle under the Sodev Mumik's project.
As one of the lead farmers, I have benefited a lot from this project Rumikizi because I've managed to buy a small motorcycle, and on top of that, I'm continuing teaching other farmers, those who were very behind.
The Christian Aid-led project linking communities under social protection to resilience phased out in November 2020 and was being financed by European Union with money about 333 million kwacha.
Government has announced a 70 billion kwacha investment to revive the country's railway system. Deputy Minister of Transport Nancy Mdoko said this when she toured upgrading works on the 25-kilometer Nsanje-Maka road and railway. Thomas Kachere reports.
Director of Rail Services in the Ministry of Transport and Public Works, Geoffrey Magwede, says the said amount will cater for both railway and stations infrastructure upgrading. He added that their counterpart in Mozambique have already started upgrading their site.
At the moment, the engineer's estimate is around 70 billion Malawi kwacha. That 70 billion Malawi kwacha will include everything, including station buildings as well as communication systems. But as for the track, it's going to be less than that.
The project is said to be the backbone of Malawi transport network and supports a regional trade and tourism with Mozambique. In line with Malawi Growth and Development Strategy, MGDS, the government of Malawi is upgrading the 25-kilometer Nsanje-Maka road. It is also expected that the upgrading of the road and railway will reduce problems of transporting farm inputs and produce to and from various markets. Nancy Mdoko is Deputy Minister of Transport.
We organized this tour to see what the Tonse Alliance government wants to achieve. At first, we went through Maka, want to connect the road and the rail. The connection of the Maka railway line, it will provide a connection with our friends in Mozambique. So it was the wish of Late Mia to revive the lane. And it is the wish of the Tonse Alliance government to revamp the railway line. We are impressed very much with the road. It's about 72% completion. And I hope the people of Nsanje will benefit a lot. As we can see, the road passes the area where many people plant sorghum. And it will ease the movement of their farm produce to the various markets.
The reviving of the railway follows discussions with Mozambique, and currently the government of Malawi is engaging a contractor to upgrade the railway.
The Ministry of Labour has given Kalumbu Estate in Mchinji up to 2 weeks to improve the welfare of its employees or face the law. Deputy Minister of Labour Vera Kantugule cautioned owners of the farm when she inspected to appreciate how it is protecting workers from COVID-19. We have the details in this report.
The Deputy Minister paid a surprise visit to Kalumbu Estate, where she was accompanied by officials from the Ministry of Labour and some from Mchinji Labour Office. During the inspection at the estate, it was noted that farm workers had no protective gear and there was no strict adherence to COVID-19 preventive measures. Kamtogule said although there was a general adherence to labor law, there were several areas that need to be addressed. She further explained that she gathered that workers are being dismissed from work without following the proper procedures.
In the state, we noted that employees are not being given protective gear. They don't have proper procedures for grievances, to handle grievances, while they are adhering to the minimum wage. But I think procedures in terms of how they manage when somebody is sick, and also their wages and all of that is not really properly followed. And even dismissal, how people are dismissed. Somebody that has worked for the company for 16 years will just be dismissed just like that without any disciplinary committee being instituted, without that person being heard. And you know that even as much as that is flouting labor laws, but also rules of natural justice provide that somebody should be heard before they are disciplined.
One of the former workers, 39-year-old Samson Shaibu, who has worked at the estate for 16 years, was dismissed in January this year, but he is yet to be informed when he will be given his terminal benefits and the amount of money he is expecting to receive. The farm's supervisor, Sosten Mwale, assured the deputy minister that the management will improve the welfare of its workers. On the day, Kamtugule also inspected Kamwendo Cooking Oil Cooperative Society that manufactures cooking oil.
Kwagwanji Muslim Association of Malawi has encouraged Muslims to take part in environmental conservation. The association's spokesperson, Sheikh Jafar Kawinga, made the remarks when Chiradzulu Radio Islam Listeners Association engaged in tree planting exercise.
I really applaud the grouping that felt that it was possible to have this program done here at Mtamba village, where Nkoya Masjid is. You know, there are two things that have happened here. One is in Islam we call it ibadah. Conserving and preserving natural resources, whether it be ecology or environment, is part of ibadah, part of worshipping. What we are doing here, we were doing like we were worshipping. That Allah is going to reward for the people who have done this program. So it's a teaching of Islam. The Prophet Muhammad, the last prophet, taught us that we should conserve the environment. We need to preserve the environment. We need to preserve and conserve the natural resources and the ecology. So that is the teaching of the Prophet Muhammad, and it is stated in the Quran and also stated in the tradition of the Prophet.
Chiradzulu Radio Islam Listeners Association chairperson Qasim Muhammad said all Malawians, including Muslims, have the responsibility to take part in such initiatives.
This is our starting point of our programs. We are still working in different work here in Chirazu. From today up to onwards in time. So first we appreciate our organizing team and the organizing Jamaat in here to work together and in brilliant work. So we want each and everyone, the citizen of Chirazu, to encourage us, to help us, assist us in any other way of their assistance.
You're watching the news on Times TV. We'll be right back soon after this break.
For a better tomorrow, don't forget to do the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate every night.
Mask bwana. Bwana mvale mask.
Sini ufunika maski.
Bwana, simungalo we muno obanda maski.
Ukunde kuyesa nato. Bambanga ndi bwana wankulu utu pa kampani pano. Dikira na imve nkhani imene.
Akuza zona mwana wanga.
Chani? Ndine ndemwe.
Inde, aliyense akuvala mask. Palibe kusankha. ngati uli ndi kachilombo koyambisa covid-19 maski yakoyo ikhoza kuteteza ena kuti asatenge kwa iwe.
mukatero mukhala mukuteteza tonsefe.
ndipo ngati ulibe covid-19 maski yakoyo imakuthandiza kuti upewe utenga kachilomboko. Ndathokoza Jane. Ndikhulupirira kuti kuyambira lero uzivala maski yakoyo monga mmene umagondera kuchena zovala zakozo mwana wanga.
If there's one thing that all soaps do, it's wash. From buckets to basins, bathrooms to streams, and everything in between.
All soaps wash.
Yes, but Protex is different. Its reinvented formula with flaxseed oil boosts your skin's natural anti-germ defenses by 10 times more, protecting you against 99.9% of germs. So what keeps us healthy?
Protex!
Good health starts here.
Welcome back. Headmaster for Masongola Secondary School in Zomba, Fidelisi Maukala, has called on authorities to assist in renovating the school as it reopens this Monday. Magaula says the school is in a dilapidated state and would need one more week to make it suitable for learning. Magaula tells our reporter, Jason Maloa, that the school's water system is almost non-functional.
In terms of sanitation, it's the same thing that they are in bad condition. And just recently is when we have discovered that toilets have been vandalized so much that even if students come, it will not be okay for them.
What's the situation now?
It's very pathetic. The situation is very pathetic, and I would plead to the government to at least give us a waiver so that we perhaps renovate some of these problems.
Chairperson of the school's alumni, Ben Chikame, also asked well-wishers to assist with maintenance work at the institution.
We need a collaborative approach. We as the alumni are there to see what we can assist with the little that we have, but we should also possibly lobby with the authorities if they can come and appreciate. To be very honest, I think we need a lot of investment in this school. We appreciate it's a very old school, but since it caters for possibly very poor students from disadvantaged families, and the state of affairs of the school, which sanitary can be prone to some health hazards.
Ministry of Education spokesperson Chikondi Chimala said the ministry will send a team to monitor the situation. Still in the news, Eastern Produce Malawi has donated 8 oxygen concentrators to assist Malamulo Hospital in Cholo, Mulanje District Hospital and Mulanje Mission Hospital fight COVID-19. The support is worth 9.5 million kwacha. The company operates a tea, macadamia, and forestry businesses in Cholo and Mulanje districts and employs about 10,000 people. Loele Nimpasa has filed this report, read by Elvis Hoa Hoa.
Supporting the cause by the State President Lazarus Chakwera for organizations and individuals to support the overstretched health system on resources regarding COVID-19 pandemic, and in keeping with its commitment of investing in and bettering the communities, Eastern Produce Malawi handed over COVID-19 management equipment worth 9.5 million kwacha to 4 hospitals in Cholo and Mulanje districts. Robson Kachirere, who is the Corporate Social Responsibility Manager, handed over the donation to the facilities on behalf of EPM. Dumisani Nguluwe, Managing Partner, Warthog Inc., advisor for EPM, said despite the challenges faced in the year, EPM jealously guarded its stand on uplifting communities through various programs.
Eastern Produce operates in 2 districts of Cholo and Mulanje, and within those districts, that's where Malamulo Hospital falls, where a big chunk of our community gets medical help when they do fall sick. And so today we decided that we needed to support Malamulo Hospital with 2 oxygen concentrators and an oxygen pulsimeter.
CEO of Malamulo Adventist Hospital, Austin Dice, in receiving the donation, said Malamulo and EPM have had a long-term relationship and they are happy to be receiving the donation.
We have had a second wave of the coronavirus, and in this wave we've had 55 admitted patients and 6 deaths. But it seems that we're slowly going down from that now, which is very good news.
District Medical Officer for Tiolo, Dr. Danis Solomon, said the donation will help to grow Tiolo District Hospital's COVID-19 treatment unit capacity from 4 beds to 6. Medical Director of Mulanje Mission Hospital, Dr. Ari Glass, said the donation will help the very sick people suffering from COVID-19, especially those with lung damage. He described the donation as life-saving. APM, in committing to help clients, employees and the communities that support its operations in Tiolo and Mulanje, made the official handover of the donation to officials of the 4 hospitals.
And now in international news, President Joe Biden has announced steps to re-engage with Tehran and return to the Iraq nuclear deal that the Trump administration withdrew from in 2018. The move has been criticized by Israel, which says it will pave the Iran's path to a nuclear arsenal. White House correspondent Patse Widaguswala has a report on the challenges ahead for Biden's policy on Iran.
A pro-Iran armed militia claimed responsibility for this week's missile strikes in the Kurdistan region of Iraq. The attack highlights challenges for the Biden administration as it announced it will rejoin negotiation on the 2015 Iran nuclear deal, also known as the JCPOA.
We're prepared to re-engage in negotiations with the P5+1 on Iran's nuclear program. We must also address Iran's destabilizing activities across the Middle East.
Addressing the virtual Munich Security Conference on Friday, Biden promised close cooperation with Europe and other partners on Iran, a move supported by some analysts.
The pathway to addressing U.S. concerns about Iran's activity in the region and the pathway to addressing Iran's nuclear program in the long term runs through restoring the JCPOA and rebuilding confidence in U.S. good faith negotiations.
In a statement, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that going back to the JCPOA will pave Iran's path to a nuclear arsenal. Iran has begun enriching uranium up to 20% above the Iran nuclear deal's limit of 5%, but less than the 90% needed for weapons. Tehran has signaled willingness to return to negotiations, but opposes any changes to the deal negotiated under the Obama administration. Recently passed legislation by Iran's parliament may also force Tehran to harden its nuclear stance if U.S. sanctions are not eased by February 21st.
The meeting's going to be set up. The Americans are going to find a way back into the deal. The Iranians are going to get some sanctions relief, not everything they wanted. The point here is everybody's trying to save, face and not be humiliated. Nobody wants to blink first, but everybody wants to go back to some kind of diplomatic track. Start with what's manageable and then move down the list if there's enough confidence in the process.
The Biden administration also took steps at the United Nations to restore its Iran policy back to what it was before the Trump administration withdrew from the deal in 2018. But returning to diplomacy won't be easy. There are still more questions than answers.
Should we go back straight to the JCPOA, even though it's soon to start expiring? Do we need a somewhat tougher deal? Does President Biden really just want to go back to the Obama policy at this late date when there are virtually no Republicans in Washington that support it?
Another key challenge, dealing with Tehran's ongoing regional interventions, including in Yemen, where it's fighting a proxy war against Saudi Arabia. Earlier this month, the Biden administration announced it is ending support for the Saudi-led military offensive, calling the move part of restoring American emphasis on diplomacy. Patsy Vidakuswara, VOA News.
That's the news for now, but before we go, the headlines once again. Government interdicts controlling officers over failure to account for COVID-19 funds. Teachers announce strike as schools reopen this Monday, and 70 billion kwacha investment set up to revive Malawi's railway system. You have been with me, Sarah Chilora. You can get more on this and other stories by visiting our website www.times.mw, liking our Facebook page Times360 Malawi, and following us on Twitter at Times360 Malawi. Remember to wash your hands regularly, observe social and physical distance, and mask up. Please stay safe. I wish you a lovely night.